সাগরা হে দাসে করুণা করি। ও হে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুরা দয়ার সাগরা হে দাসে করুণা করি। দিয়া পাদ ছায়া শোধো হে আমার আমার চরণ ধরি। দিয়া পদ ছায়া শোধো হে আমায় তোমার চরণ ধরি। क्षय वेगदोमि क्षय दोषाशोधि क्षय गुण देहो दासे। क्षय सत्संगा देहो हे আমারে বসেছি সঙ্গের আশে। ছায়া সৎসঙ্গা দেহ হে আমারে বসেছি সঙ্গের আশে। एकाकी हमारा नहीं पाया बाला हरि नाम संकीर्तने। তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধ্যানে। তুমি কৃপা করে শ্রদ্ধা বিন্দু দিয়া দেহ কৃষ্ণ নাম ধ্যানে। कृष्णा से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दीते पारा तुम्हार सकती आछे। कृष्णा से तुम्हारा कृष्ण दीते पारा तुम्हार सकती আছে। আমি তো কঙ্গালা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি রাই তব পাছে পাছে। আমি তো কঙ্গালা কৃষ্ণ কৃষ্ণ বলি রাই তব পাছে পাছে। ওহে বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর দয়ারা সাগর দাসে করুণা করি। জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর। জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর জয় বৈষ্ণব ঠাকুর। জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ 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 জয় শ্রীল প্রভুপাদ। शरिया वैष्णव सेवा निस्तार पाए छे के बा। चरिया वैष्णव सेवा निष्ठार पाए छे के बा। नाम श्रेष्ठम मनुमपि सचिपुत्रम अत्र स्वरूपम श्रीरूपम तस्याग्रजं मुरुपरिं मातुरीं गोष्ठवातिं राधा कुंडं गिरिवरमो राधिका माधवासं प्राप्तो यस्या प्रतिकृपया श्रीगुरुं नतोऽस्मि। हे गुरो ज्ञानदादीनबन्धो स्वानन्ददाता करुणैकसिन्धो वृन्दावनासीन हितावतार प्रसीद राधा प्रणया प्रचार। हे दीनबन्धो करुणैकसिन्धो कुरु प्रसादं मयि मण्डमूढे लक्ष्यापराधे बहुपापगाधे तत्पादपद्मे सुमतिश्च कृष्णे। यद्यापि अमर गुरु चैतन्यदास तथापि जानीयामि तन्हरा प्रकाश। गुरु कृष्ण रूपा होय शास्त्र प्रमाणे गुरु रूपे कृष्ण कृपा करे न भक्त गाने। शिक्षा गुरु के तजानी कृष्णेर स्वरूपा अंतर्यामी भक्त श्रेष्ठ ए दुई रूपा। नैवोपयन्त्यपचितं कवयस्तवेषा ब्रह्मायुषापि कृतमृद्धमुदस्मरन्था योऽन्तर्बहिस्तनुभृतामशुभं विधुन्वन् आचार्य चैत्य वपुषा स्वगतिं व्यनक्ति। Without serving the representative of Krishna, nobody can approach Krishna. I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have attained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Sachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami, and his older brother Sanatan Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radha Kund and Govardhan Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Sri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Guru Dev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore, grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. Although I know that my spiritual master is a servitor of Sri Chaitanya, I know him also as a plenary manifestation of the Lord. Every living entity is eternally a servant of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Therefore, the spiritual master cannot be other than a servant of Lord Chaitanya. The spiritual master's eternal occupation is to expand the service of the Lord by training disciples in a service attitude. According to the delivered opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of a disciple with the spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Spiritual masters always represent themselves as the humblest servitors of the personality of Godhead. But the disciple must look upon the spiritual master as the manifested representation of Godhead. One should know the instructing spiritual master to be the personality of Krishna. Lord Krishna manifests himself as a super soul and as the greatest devotee of the Lord. The initiating spiritual master is a personal manifestation of Srila Madan Mohan Vigraha, whereas the instructing spiritual master is a personal representative of Srila Govinda Dev Vigraha. O my Lord, transcendental poets and experts in spiritual science cannot fully express their indebtedness to you, even if they were endowed with the prolonged lifetime of Brahma, for you appear in two features, externally as the Acharya and internally as the Supersoul, to deliver the embodied living being by directing him how to come to you. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our heart with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates. By him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your friend is spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter of your lotus feet. His divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sarma. Bandhan Mue Savadhana Mate. Bandhan Mue Savadhana Mate. Jara prasadhe bhai e bhavatorya jai. Jara prasadhe bhai Bhavatorya jai. Krishna prapti hoy jaha hoy te. Krishna prapti hoya hoite. Guru Mukha Padmavaka Chitete Koriya Aitya. Arana kori hamane asha. Arana kori hamane asha. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttamagati. Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttamagati. Jai Prasadhe sarva asha. Jai prasad hai pure sarva asha. चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से चक्षुदान दिलो जे जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशित प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते प्रेम भक्ति जहाँ होते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेद गाय आहार चरित वेद गाय आहार चरित श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनर बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवन्ना लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवना आहा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मरे पाद छाया आहा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मरे पद छाया आहा प्रभु करो दया दे हमारे पद छाया ए विदास घोषो त्रिभुवना ए विदास घोषो त्रिभुवना हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया ए विदास घोषो त्रिभुवना श्रील प्रभुपाद पतित पावना जय प्रभुपदा 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 श्रील प्रभुपदा जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद 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 श्रील प्रभुपाद की नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Prabhu Nityananda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Srivasadi Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nidai Gaura Hari. Gaura Premanande. जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्री श्रीमद श्रील भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती ठाकुर महाराज प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की दामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की श्री वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की श्री पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माँ यमुना माँ भक्ति देवी की श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की संवेर गौर भक्त वृंद की एकादशी महोत्सव की गौर प्रेमानंदे. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees.
the floor.
Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balapa Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Radhajana Ranja Yashoda Nandana Radhajana Ranja Yashoda Nandana Radhajana Ranja Yashoda Nandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjan Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjan Yashoda Nandana Prajajana Ranjan Yashoda Yamuna Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, hooray, hooray. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, hooray, hooray. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, hooray, hooray, hooray. Oh, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, hooray, hooray. Oh, Hare Rama, Hare Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Raya, Raya. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Privajakacharya Asto Tartata Shri Shimad Nitya Leela Vishnam is Divine Grace Shila Abhay Charan Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj ISKCON's BBD founder Acharya Jagadguru Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Ki Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Special occasion for myself, at least I can speak. It's the first time in my life I'm in this very glorious room, this temple room, place where so much empowered devotional service has been emanating from for how many years have we been in this location?
12 years. Since 2013. 2013.
Huh?
2013.
2013, okay. So I'm humbled and honored to be able to be here and can try to speak something for everyone's mutual benefit. So I was told that I can choose something from the Srimad Bhagavatam. So there's a particular section in the 8th canto that is very much appreciate, and it's the chapter 7. Lord Shiva saves the universe. Lord Shiva is drinking the ocean of poison during the churning of the milk ocean. So these verses, beginning from verse 36 to the end of the chapter, I believe verse 44 or 45 is the last verse, is what I'd like to spend our time with this morning. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasvatim Vyasam Tato Jayat Adhirayat Nastapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamash Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. So, for chanting responsively together, we will chant together verse number 45. So I'll start reading from verse 38. So the background is that the churning of the milk ocean produced many things, but at this point, a very powerful poison was being generated, and the administrators of the universe, the demigods, they are approaching Lord Shiva, and they are speaking many appeals to him, praising him very intelligently and minutely analyzing Lord Shiva's great position. And at the conclusion of this series of verses by the demigods, Srila Shukadeva Goswami in verse 36 says, Srila Shukadeva Goswami continued, Lord Shiva is always benevolent toward all living entities. When he saw that the living entities were very much disturbed by the poison which was spreading everywhere, he was very compassionate. Thus he spoke to his eternal consort, Sati, as follows. Verse 37, Lord Shiva said, My dear Bhavani, just see how all these living entities have been placed in danger because of the poison produced from the churning of the ocean of milk. It is my duty to give protection and safety to all living entities struggling for existence. Certainly, it is the duty of the Master to protect his suffering dependents. Verse 39, which is a worthy verse in and of itself for exclusively concentrating on in the Srimad Bhagavatam class. Pranay Svai Pranar Panti Sadava Shana Bangurai Bada Vireshu Bhuteshu Mohichu Atma Mayaya. People in general, being bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are always engaged in animosity towards one another. But devotees, even at the risk of their own temporary lives, try to save them. Report. This is the characteristic of a Vaishnava, para dukkha dukhi. A Vaishnava is always unhappy to see the conditioned souls unhappy. Otherwise, he would have no business teaching them how to become happy. In materialistic life, people must certainly engage in activities of animosity. Materialistic life is therefore compared to samsara davanala, a blazing forest fire that automatically takes place. Lord Shiva and his followers in the parampara system try to save people from this dangerous condition of materialistic life. This is the duty of devotees following the principles of Lord Shiva and belonging to the Rudra Sampradaya. There are 4 Vaishnava Sampradayas, and the Rudra Sampradaya is one of them because Lord Shiva, Rudra, is the best of the Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam yata sambhu. Indeed, as we shall see, Lord Shiva drank all the poison for the benefit of humanity. My dear gentle wife, Bhavani, one who performs benevolent activities for others, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is very pleased. And when the Lord is pleased, I am also pleased, along with all other living creatures. Therefore, let me drink this poison, for all the living entities may thus become happy because of me. Shukadeva Goswami continued. After informing Bhavani in this way, Lord Shiva began to drink the poison, and Bhavani, who knew perfectly well the capabilities of Lord Shiva, gave him her permission to do so. Text 42. Thereafter, Lord Shiva, who is dedicated to auspicious, benevolent work for humanity, compassionately took the whole quantity of poison in his palm and drank it. Purport. Although there was such a great quantity of poison that it spread all over the universe, Lord Shiva had such great power that he reduced the poison to a small quantity so that he could hold it in his palm. One should not try to imitate Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva can do whatever he likes, but those who try to imitate Lord Shiva by smoking ganja and other poisonous things will certainly be killed because of such activities. As if in defamation, the poison born from the ocean of milk manifested its potency by marking Lord Shiva's neck with a bluish line. That line, however, is now accepted as an ornament of the Lord. Verse 44, we will hear and chant together. Tapyante loka tapena sarava prayaso jana parmaradanam tadi prushasya kilatmanaha tapyanti lokatapena sarava prayaso jana parmaradanam tadi prushasya kilatmanaha tapyanti lokatapena sarava prayaso jana parmaradanam tadi prushasya kilatmanaha tapyanti lokatapena sarava prayaso jana Paramaradhanam tadi. Purusha yakilatmanaha. Please chant.
Tapyanti lokatapena. Sadhava prayasojana. Paramaradhanam tadhi. Purushasyakilatmanaha. Tapyante lokatapena. Sadhava prayasojana.
Atmanaha.
Sadhavaha prayasho janaha param aradhanam tadhi purushasya akhilatmanaha.
Anyone else?
Tapyante lokatapena. Sadhava prayasojana. Paramaradhanam tadhi. Purushasyakilatmanaha.
Tapyante. Voluntarily suffer. Lokatapena. Because of the suffering of people in general. Sadhava. Saintly persons. Prayasa. Almost always. Jana. Such persons. Parama aradhanam. The topmost method of worshiping. Tat. That activity. He. Indeed. Purushasya. Of the Supreme Person. Akila Atmanaha. Who is the super soul of everyone. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, ISKCON's BBT founder, Acharya Jagadguru, Patita Pavana, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Here is an explanation of how those engaged in activities for the welfare of others are very quickly recognized by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verses 68 through 69, Ya idam paramam guyam mad bhakteshu abhidasyati na chatasman manushyeshu kaschin me priya kritamaha. One who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees is most dear to me. No one can excel him in satisfying me by worship. There are different kinds of welfare activities in this world, but the supreme welfare activity is the spreading of Krishna consciousness. Other welfare activities cannot be effective, for the laws of nature and the results of karma cannot be checked. It is by destiny or the laws of karma that one must suffer or enjoy. For instance, if one is given a court order, he must accept it, whether it brings suffering or profit. Similarly, everyone is under obligations to karma and its reactions. No one can change this. Therefore, the Shastra says, Tasyaiva heto parayeta kovido na labhyate yad brahmatam uparayada Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 5, Narada Muni's Instructions to Srila Vyasadeva, text number 18. One should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down the universe as a result of the reactions of karma. What is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, he should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord is pleased with him, what is left for him to achieve? If one has been recognized by the Lord, even if he does not ask the Lord for anything, the Lord who is within everyone supplies him whatever he wants. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Tesham nityabhiyuktanam yoga shema vihamyaham. Again, as stated here, tapyante lokatapena sadava prayasojana. The best welfare activity is raising people to the platform of Krishna consciousness, since the conditioned souls are suffering only for want of Krishna consciousness. The Lord himself also comes to mitigate the suffering of humanity. Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhutanam dharmasya tadatmanam srijami aham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya traduskritam dharma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to reestablish the principles of religion. I advent myself millennium after millennium. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, entitled Transcendental Knowledge, verses 7 and 8. All the Shastras conclude, therefore, that spreading the Krishna consciousness movement is the best activity in the world, because of the ultimate benefit this bestows upon people in general. The Lord very quickly recognizes such service performed by a devotee. Upon hearing of this act, everyone, including Bhavani, the daughter of Maharaj Daksha, Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and the people in general, very highly praised this deed performed by Lord Shiva, who is worshipped by the demigods and who bestows benedictions upon them. Scorpions, cobras, poisonous drugs, and other animals whose bites are poisonous took the opportunity to drink whatever little poison had fallen and scattered from Lord Shiva's hand while he was drinking. Purport: mosquitoes, jackals, dogs, and other varieties of danda sukha, or animals whose bites are poisonous, drank the poison from the Samudra Matana, the churned ocean, since it was available after it fell from the palms of Lord Shiva. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 8th canto, 7th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Shiva saves the universe by drinking poison. You can give me a 9th canto. Om Agyana Timirandasya Jananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unlitam Yena Tasmai Shri Grave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Sva Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagardatam Sagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Saitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakavidhamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Mandama Tergati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Dibyad Brindaranya Kalpajumada Srimad Ratnagara Singha Sanasto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prastalabi Savyamano Smarami Sriman Rasa Rasarambi Bamsi Batatatat Stitaha Karshan Venus Fanar Gopir Gopinatha Sriyestuna Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Brindavaneshvari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Titanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktabrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Tapyanti Lokatapena Sadava Prayasojana Paramaradhanam Taddi Parasyak Akilatmanaha. It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general. This is considered the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is present in everyone's heart. So, this is a very powerful example set by Lord Shiva, and it is filled with great potency to help all of us to understand the importance of the mission of the Lord as being manifested by the greatest devotee of the Lord, our spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, in his purport to the verse 39, people in general, being bewildered by the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are always engaged in animosity towards one another. But the devotees, even at the risk of their own temporary lives, try to save them. Prabhupada says this is the characteristic of the Vaishnava, Paradukha Dukhi. This is in relationship to Prahlad Maharaj, especially, that he did not wish to be liberated alone. In his own words, I do not wish to be liberated alone, leaving aside all of these fools and rascals, it's described in the text, but at the same time, the Vaishnava is not thinking that the people are fools and rascals. He's thinking that they are very, very unfortunate because they are lacking information of Krishna Sambandha. What is it like to have a relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The most beautiful personality, the source of all opulences, Sad Aishvarya Purna, the fulfiller of all desires. What is one description of the Lord in the Ishopanishad? He is the self-sufficient philosopher who's been fulfilling everyone's desire since time immemorial. We say every day, chanting the song of Narottam Das Thakur, Sri Guru Charana Padma, that by making one's desire, one's mind, heart, and intelligence one with the desire of Krishna's pure devotee, the spiritual master, that this raises one uttam gati to the highest position. And this is the actual fulfillment of all desires. So this is a very powerful description of what is materialistic life, that it is based on animosity. Animosity isn't just what everyone could agree that there's some like offensive activity, some insulting activity, some discriminatory activity, some type of even physical assault, or I'm seeing signs everywhere, protect your car from break-ins and this and that. You know, don't leave anything valuable there. So we all agree this is animosity, but the so-called bewilderment of, what is Prabhupada used the term, society, friendship, and love. That material attraction on the physical platform and relationships based on the family. What is that verse? One who considers the land of his birth worshipable, his body is to be something very special. We see that people have various superiority complexes based on the race or ethnicity or religion that they're born into. And that's true more or less wherever you go. There's one place in the Bhagavatam, I believe it's where Maharaj Chitraketu meets Lord Anantadev, and he's speaking all these praises, especially of the process of pure devotional service, where the devotees think that we are Krishna's and Krishna is ours, and there's no discrimination between different countries or races, that we're all of one family, the Achyuta Gotra, the family of Krishna. So, because people are lacking Krishna Sambandha, they must be engaged in animosity towards one another. So, Paradukkha Dukhi is that I wish to make the people happy. And they know, just like Prahlad Maharaj, when he smiled at the folly, the ignorance of his schoolmates, his class friends, and began to instruct them. Prabhupada says in that section, the devotee knows fully well what is the problem and what is the solution. So he doesn't, taking compassion on those in a less fortunate position than oneself is not based upon what is described, that when I see others suffering, then that is a source of great happiness for me. Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one of his songs describes this materialistic mentality. When I see others flourishing, seemingly more than myself, then I became sorry and envious. Prabhupada says in one purport in the Bhagavad Gita, when he sees that others have something for their sense gratification and he doesn't, he becomes sorry and envious. So a devotee who is free from all of these things is very, very dear to the Lord. That's in one section. Maybe somebody knows exactly where all the different qualities that free one from material bondage are described by practicing them, adopting them, and perfecting them. In materialistic life, people must certainly, so if you're lacking Krishna consciousness, then you must certainly engage in activities of animosity. Blazing forest fire that automatically takes place. Lord Shiva and his followers in the Parampara system tried to save people from this dangerous condition of materialistic life. This is the duty of devotees, following the principles of Lord Shiva, and Prabhupada goes on to say there are 4 bona fide Vaishnava Sampradayas, and their business is the same. We see when Srila Prabhupada was just 5 days from completing the 35-day Jaladuta, the messenger of the waters, so appropriately named the boat that Prabhupada came to America on. He wrote the prayers, Markani Bhagavad Dharma. So we all know that the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, the biography, was written by Satsvarup Das Goswami, who even during Prabhupada's presence, the matter of writing a biography of His Divine Grace was presented to Srila Prabhupada, and he was at first kind of dismissal of the idea, what's the point? And when the devotee said that people will become very much interested to want to understand Krishna consciousness and to know about Krishna by reading the example of your life, that this will be a very important and useful literature to write and to print and distribute. And on that point, Prabhupada agreed, yes, all right, for that basis you can make a biography of myself. And he said, and Satsvarup Maharaj can write it. And in writing biography of great personalities, it's always very, very important to do so immediately. If the idea is to have their complete life understood, then at least immediately after their departure, start interviewing all the appropriate personalities while memories and understandings are still fresh in everyone's mind, and there's check and balance amongst other personalities to, see if some story is fanciful or exaggerated or just plain not true. So that was done immediately in 1978, and the entire 6-volume Lilamrita was completed in Kartik, 1982. You can read, completed in the Krishna Balaram Mandir, Kartik season, 1982. But Satsvarup Maharaj was so much filled with enthusiasm writing the biography of Prabhupada that he also made a corresponding poetry rendering of the Lilamrita, all 6 volumes. And he meant it to be an accompaniment to those who appreciated the Lilamrita. So in this section of Prabhupada boarding the Jaladuta and the ocean voyage, he says that now only the ocean storms separated you from us. From our side, the hour was very, very late, as more and more souls fell from the cliff of human life into the abyss of Tamagun. What is the greatest fear? To lose the human form of life and be implicated in the process of transmigrating through the various lower species of life, a process that takes millions and millions and millions of years. So how valuable is this human form of life? So the pure devotees, they're literally racing against time to try to save as many souls as possible. The black-hulled Jaladuta, moored at dockside in Calcutta, was bearing him, the pure devotee, to us by his will, by the Lord's will. The universes, so many universes with so many planets in orbit, and the regulative order of time and karma for countless living entities, all of this under the control and desire of the Lord. And by that same control and desire, the pure devotee was coming to rescue the damned. So Prabhupada, he is praying, my dear, he's actually saying, just in the spirit of how Bhaktivinoda Thakur would say in his prayers and songs, "O brother, O Bhai, I emphatically say unto you that you will not achieve the mercy, or you will not gain the pleasure of the Supreme Lord until Srimati Radharani becomes pleased with you." Prabhupada had been writing how he was missing Sri Vrindavan Dham, his Lord, Sri Sri Radha Damodar, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, Govindaji, but by being duty-bound to his spiritual master's order, he discounted all the inconvenience, or we could say suffering, just like it's being described in this verse. The pure devotees always accept voluntary suffering for the sake of uplifting the fallen conditioned souls. Such activity constitutes the highest method of worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who lives in everyone's heart. And then after describing a very powerful and most confidential statement that you must achieve the mercy of Srimati Radharani, Prabhupada doesn't exactly say how to do it, but he immediately says, Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada is that great saintly spiritual master who bestows intense devotion to Krishna at various places around the world. It's interesting, just A few years later, Prabhupada is describing and praising his disciples that my spiritual master directed all of you who were previously performing devotional service, Prabhupada alluded, in India, to take your birth in the Western countries to be present at the right time as young men and women in your early 20s, filled with strength, vigor, and enthusiasm and idealism to help me when I arrived. And one devotee said, but Prabhupada, how could that be true? Because we were engaged in so many sinful activities. And Prabhupada just discounted it all and said, that was incidental. When you heard the holy name, you all came running. What is it in the chapter 20, description of autumn and the rainy season in the 10th canto, that when the rainy season begins, then all the different frogs wake up and start croaking, making loud frog sounds. And this is likened unto students and brahmacharis don't rise of their own accord in the monastery and cultural institution unless a bell is rang. So similarly, everyone is sleeping in the darkness of ignorance in this Kali Yuga, and only by the calling of a great devotee does everyone rise up and wake up and perform the actual duties of human life. So he is that great saintly spiritual master who bestows intense devotion for Krishna at various places around the world. Who here has visited the newly renovated, very beautifully done and organized by His Holiness Radhanath Swami, the Ulta Dunga original Gaudiya Math in Calcutta? You are an intelligent young man. Why don't you preach Lord Chaitanya's message all over the world? Before even rising from offering obeisances, before even introductory pleasantries are exchanged, and certainly before our Srila Prabhupada could gain a comprehensible impression, he had just had a huge argument on the street with great resistance to his friend, Narendranath Malik, who wanted on behalf of his friends to have Abhay Charan Prabhu, who they considered the leader of their group. They wanted him to meet Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, and they wanted to see what his honest appraisal was. But oh no, I've seen so many sadhus, so-called sadhus, my father has brought to the house. Some of them are no better than beggars and ganja smokers. I don't need to see any more sadhus. No, you must see, this is different. Finally, he couldn't resist. And Prabhupada, when they came downstairs, said, well, what did you think? And Prabhupada, he didn't verbalize to his friend, but he was thinking, I've never been defeated before in my life, in argument and in what I wanted to accomplish, my desire. But this being defeated was not at all a defeat. It was an immense gain. I liked it. I liked being defeated by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. He said, Lord Chaitanya's movement, he said to his friend, is in the hands of a very expert devotee. I accepted him as my spiritual master immediately, not officially, but within my heart. And he immediately dropped his enthusiasm for being in Gandhi's independence movement, which he had requested Gandhi and practically demanded that everyone who is a true patriotic Indian renounce everything British. Who here has gone to college and university and done everything required to graduate, or who is doing so now? So, Prabhupada went, this is Scottish Church's College, you can still see it, it's still existing and functioning in Calcutta, went through everything required, had graduated. And the only thing left to do was to come to the graduation ceremony and get your diploma. Prabhupada stepped away and refused it. Wow. His father knew Dr. Bosch and got his son got Srila Prabhupada a very good job. So financially or economically, there wasn't a problem. But for others who would, what are you going to do? So that was Prabhupada's, his belief in Gandhi's independence movement. You have to be really, really brave, bold, and a believer to renounce after putting in all that time and effort and how much money it cost. But even upon the first meeting and hearing Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati speak, he renounced Gandhi. Said, I'm now a follower of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Here's a little side story. Later, Prabhupada was speaking with Brahmananda. Prabhupada was very much in remembrance of the very first early devotees who helped him as the movement grew and more and more disciples came. So having a casual conversation with Brahmananda some years later, maybe 1975, how did you join Krishna consciousness? And Brahmananda said, I had a friend who heard about Prabhupada at 26 Second Avenue. They were both followers of an impersonalist guru yogi, Swami Nikalananda. And his friend told him, their process is singing and dancing. Singing and dancing, that didn't make sense to Brahmananda at the time. So then, of course, he came and he joined. And he told Prabhupada, my friend told me about you and I came in and joined, but my friend didn't. And Prabhupada said, oh, that's just like me. My friend brought me to my spiritual master and I joined, but he didn't. By his strong desire, the holy name of Krishna will spread all over the world, all over the universe, from the mountains to the seas, the hills and the valleys and all the cities and towns. Everyone will chant the holy name of Krishna as the vast mercy. And this is Prabhupada saying all these things 5 days before landing in Boston. Also, we were seeing in Calcutta at the original Albert Road Temple, there's the statue that was made of Prabhupada boarding the Jaladuta. So you see he's walking up the gangplank. And I'm familiar with the same statue in Boston where Prabhupada is walking off the gangplank. So I thought, oh, that's so wonderful that they did like that. And you would have to make that same journey. Of course, we do it on an airplane from Boston to Calcutta to see that. As the vast mercy of Sri Chaitanya conquers all directions, as the mercy of Sri, a flood of mercy will certainly conquer the land. When all the poor, fallen, sinful living entities are made happy, its only business is making people happy. Then the Vaishnav's desire is fulfilled. When Srila Prabhupada in Los Angeles in 1970, there was some he used the word intrigue that caused Prabhupada distress, and after residing in the 3764 Watsika Boulevard Temple, which was the greatest temple to date in ISKCON, Prabhupada even called it the Western World Headquarters. And he was living there for a year or more. We could look up the exact amount, how many months. Like Prabhupada, when he came to New York, minus the month in Butler, Pennsylvania with Sally Agarwal, the second, third week of October 1965, Prabhupada stayed in New York City non-stop for 15 months, establishing ISKCON. So if you're a statistician and you wonder where did Prabhupada spend the most time, take that into account. So Prabhupada is in Los Angeles. He wrote the Nectar of Devotion, and to my knowledge, the entire Krishna book, there in Los Angeles. And he's having an argument with Krishna. Why are you sending me away? My godbrothers were given India as their Prabhupada Desh, but my spiritual master gave me the entire Western world. I want to stay here. I want to develop this temple. And Brahmananda Prabhu is telling the story. And Prabhupada also described himself in other places that all right, if you go back to India, I will give you a temple 1,000 times better than this Watsika temple, which ultimately became the Krishna Balaram Mandir. And what to speak of everything else that's going on in India. If you look at the 11, they were originally DVDs, now you can see on YouTube, compilation of every moving image of Srila Prabhupada, which was done by Yadubar and Vishaka Prabhus. It's called Following Srila Prabhupada, you put on YouTube. And I can't say which number it is, maybe 3 or 4. Anyway, you can find Delhi Pandal, 1971. We all know that Prabhupada was not taken very seriously prior to coming to the United States and establishing ISKCON and making, as Prabhupada later corrected when they were making a handbill and advertisement for the Jaipur Pandal in 1972, Swami Bhaktivedanta and his foreign disciples. No, that's right. It must say American and European. And that is what is attractive. And Prabhupada, actually, Bhavananda telling how he was one of the first devotees there in India. We were Prabhupada's dancing white elephants. We were very happy to be Prabhupada's dancing white elephants and dance wherever he wanted. So then people took Srila Prabhupada very, very, very seriously. It was written up in all the important newspapers all throughout the Indian subcontinent, and Krishna consciousness spread like wildfire. And when Prabhupada finally, Delhi was one of the final of the big cities that he went to, the mayor greeted him on the tarmac. If you fly into Delhi in a domestic airport, not the new Terminal 3, but Terminal 2, that's where Prabhupada landed, and they had a ceremony right there on the airfield. So Yamuna Devi, she writes that this Delhi Pandal was the seeds that ultimately became all of the amazing temples in New Delhi, which Gopal Krishna Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada's first ISKCON Indian disciple, had developed so powerfully and extraordinarily. And now we see that ISKCON India is just exploding by leaps and bounds and multiplying over and over again by Prabhupada's. Actually, in 1970, when he understood that Krishna wanted him to return to India, he was asking his leading disciples what is to be done. And Dayananda Prabhu, who was the Los Angeles Temple president, you can hear his memory. Prabhupada asked him, what is your advice? And he's thinking, I'm going to advise Srila Prabhupada? I have to dodge this. And then he thought of a very intelligent, I'm not going to say no, I'm not going to say what you should, I'll answer the question, but in a way that I dodge the bullet. Well, Srila Prabhupada, I think you should do whatever you want to do. And Prabhupada does not want to be, tricked or anything. He said, what I want to do is spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Prabhupada in one class, he's saying, what is the symptom of the pure devotee? And he said the symptom of who actually loves Krishna is that he wants to spread his Lord's name and fame all over the world like wildfire. So this is the duty of devotees following the principles of Lord Shiva, the Vaishnav Sampradayas. Indeed, as we shall see, Lord Shiva drank all the poison for the benefit of humanity. So then he is consulting with his eternal consort, Goddess Bhavani, Goddess Uma. After informing Bhavani in this way, Lord Shiva began to drink the poison, and Bhavani, who knew perfectly well the capabilities of Lord Shiva, gave him her permission to do so. Lord Shiva, who is dedicated to auspicious, benevolent work for humanity, compassionately took the whole quantity of poison in his palm and drank it. So this naturally opens the contemplation and discussion for how much can you take in? How much can you, what's a better word than digest? How much can you, how much potency do you have to counteract the poison? What is that saying? Physician, heal thyself. Prabhupada describes that a good physician, the hospital is a contaminated place, but he keeps it in a sterile and pure condition by his vigilance and I forget the exact words used in that description. Prabhupada writes it in one purport. Or in the Prabhupada created primarily ISKCON Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram Mandir, and most certainly ISKCON Mayapur, the Sri Chaitanya Doya Mandir, for devotees in the West to come annually, at the very least, and associate with together. So it's very nice that if we can live in a large temple community, that so many voices all chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, chanting the exalted prayers to the spiritual master, Guru Astakam, Sri Guru Charana Padma. It is so much, we're helping each other to help ourselves by that type of association. We're, so to speak, we have a certain amount of fuel, wood-like fuel of ourself, and we put it in the fire of the Sankirtan movement of associating with devotees, hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord, His name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. And it makes a tremendous bonfire where Maya cannot penetrate at all. If it's very cold and you make a big bonfire, there's no question of being cold. You're warm. So we're helping each other so that we can help ourselves. And vice versa, we help ourselves so that we can help others. Although there was such a great quantity of poison that it spread all over the universe, Lord Shiva had such great power that he reduced the poison to a small quantity so that he could hold it in his palm. One devotee wrote Srila Prabhupada that I have so many problems, there's so many stumbling blocks, I can't overcome them. And Prabhupada wrote back in that instance to that disciple, I can kick out unlimited stumbling blocks with one kick of my boot. It's just, how much do you desire? A devotee knows what is one of the important things to know about Krishna, that he is the supreme controller. Supreme controller, the Lord of all planets and demigods, and the Suridam, the most well-wishing friend of all living entities. He achieves complete peace from the harassment of the modes of material nature. So I cannot control anything, I cannot control anyone, but I can control my desire. We were reading the 13th chapter of the 10th canto, and in one purport, Prabhupada says that the living entity's complete fruition and perfection of desire is in regaining his original pure devotional service, his pure spiritual identity. Those Vishnu forms have Krishna, in tricking Lord Brahma, he had created a duplicate set of calves and cowherd boys, each with their own unique svabhava, mood, and personality, so much so that everyone, even Lord Balaram for a time, believed that mystic yogamaya potency of the Lord. And then when Lord Brahma came and saw, I took the calves and cowherd boys and I put them here, but they're over here, and he was completely bewildered. All those calves and cowherd boys transformed into four-armed Vishnu forms. Brahma Vimohan Lila, the bewilderment, the mind-blowing of Lord Brahma. Those Vishnu forms, by their smiling, protected their devotees from the modes of passion and ignorance and lust. And to the contrary, created ever new variegated desires in devotional service. So we come to see their lordships, but we actually are presenting ourselves so their lordships can see us. What is that saying? And somebody says, it's really good to see you. And we have like a humble retort, it's good to be seen. So when we take the darshan, the priya darshan, the most dear, Prabhupada was in tears when he heard the Govindam. That was perhaps one of George Harrison's greatest services, arranging that Govindam and the entire album, Radha Krishna Temple album, along with giving us the Bhaktivedanta Manor and paying for the printing of the Krishna book, and what to speak of putting Krishna consciousness in his music. Arguably, of the four Beatles, George Harrison had the most successful solo career after they broke up. And the discussion about that. So, and Prabhupada instructed that this should be played in all of our temples for greeting of the deities. And greeting of the deities is that the Lord's pujaris have been giving up their japa period. We're all chanting japa between 5 and 7 o'clock while the pujaris are dressing the deities. Make them as beautiful as possible so they can be attracted to each other and and that we can be attracted to them. The temple worship is very, very important to the Sankirtan movement because we're out on the field distributing books, chanting the holy name, attracting people to come to take the association of the devotees. And devotees association means that the devotees are worshiping the Lord. To come into the Lord's association. It's like we find like a missing child and we want the culmination and perfection of rescuing that child, the mother and child reunion. The chanting of Hare Krishna is just, in the sincere chanting, it's just like the cry of the child for the mother. So to come into the temple and see the Lord so beautifully decorated, can realize Vitaraga Bhaya that overcoming all the aversion to a personal relationship with the Lord, and that is the perfection of life. So the more one makes one's desire through practice, everything in devotional service is a practice. We practice developing compassion for the fallen conditioned souls, and we see how the instructions of the spiritual master actually works, and we see the result on multi-levels over time. Then we become more empowered, and we can, in a sense, drink the ocean of poison more. Prabhupada was talking to devotees that preach very vigorously when you're young, and then when you're old, you can retire to Vrindavan. Otherwise, the mind will disturb. So the devotees said, well, Prabhupada, how will we know when we're mature? And Prabhupada said, that will be for you to ascertain. And then Prabhupada made this incredible statement. As for me, I am not mature. So he's not going to retire to Vrindavan. In other words, the taste and the ecstasy and the happiness of distributing Krishna consciousness is so great that one never wants to stop. Anandam buddhi vardhanam pradipanam purnatmatis vardhanam. An ever-increasing ocean of transcendental ecstasy. So I was told I can go till 9:45. Okay, I've already gone almost to 9:30. We should leave time for questions, but let me just kind of go over this purport, the main purport. Here is an explanation of those engaged in welfare activities of others become very quickly recognized. One who preaches the message of Bhagavad Gita to my devotees is most dear to me. So this is actually the vision of the Uttamadhikari, that everyone is a devotee. Everyone is engaged in Krishna consciousness except me. This is another reason why a sincere devotee never wants to give up the preaching mission. Because what will they do otherwise? Everyone is a devotee. If they're given the chance, they can be a better devotee than I so-calledly am right now. In the chapter 4 of the 9th canto, Maharaj Ambarish, offended by Durvasa Muni, running all over the universe to try to be saved from the fire of the Sudarshan Chakra. Lord Shiva couldn't help him, Lord Brahma couldn't help him. By his potency, he can enter into the precincts of Vaikuntha Loka, into the presence of Lakshmi Narayan. And Lord Narayan tells him, I cannot help you because I am under the control of my devotees. They give up everything for me. How could I ever give up such devotees at any time? And Prabhupada describes in the purports in that section that the Lord is completely self-sufficient, Atma Rama. He doesn't need anyone to fulfill and to increase his happiness. Yet at the same time, he requires, needs, and wants the cooperation of his devotees, especially his Vrindavan devotees, the gopis, the cowherd boys, his mother Yashoda, his father Nanda Maharaj, etc., etc. This increases his pleasure. And what is the opposite of lust? Prema. Prema is unlimited. He wants to increase his pleasure more and more. This Krishna consciousness movement is an attempt to increase the pleasure of the Lord more and more by creating more and more devotees. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya, oh my dear Haridas, how will all these malechas and yavanas be delivered? I do not see any way. Haridas Thakur consoles Lord Chaitanya, my dear Lord, do not be in anxiety. So Krishna is Atmaram, yet at the same time there's a part of him that is in great anxiety for the fallen conditioned souls. Who he knows each and every one, just like Srila Prabhupada, he could see through you and understand who you really are. Beyond all the layers, gross and subtle conditioning, I think I'm a this, I'm a that in this life. Prabhupada could see past all of that. And devotees, you can hear so many, one after the other memories. It was very clear that before meeting Srila Prabhupada, I was never loved in my entire life, or I never even knew what real love was. And I can understand that Srila Prabhupada really loves me, and right on the spot, I'm going to dedicate my life and soul to him and give my life to him. Amazing. Such power, such potency. It is the best welfare activity. The Lord is automatically very pleased with him. If the Lord is pleased, what is left for you to achieve? If one is recognized by the Lord, even if he does not ask the Lord for anything, the Lord, who is within everyone, supplies him whatever he wants. A very great example of that is Sudam Brahman, who was urged by his wife to go beg from Krishna to help them in their poverty-stricken condition. And he was just so overwhelmed meeting his beloved, dear, former Gurukul mate, that he completely forgot the reason that he went to see Lord Krishna. But upon coming back to his native ancestral home, he saw everything transformed into that which is greater than Indraloka, the kingdom of heaven. But to the contrary, like people get riches and opulence, they become proud. Every day, it just made him more and more overwhelmed with love for his beloved friend Krishna. And his devotional service simply expanded exponentially as time went on. All the Shastras conclude, therefore, the spreading of Krishna consciousness movement is the best welfare activity in the world because of the ultimate Shreya Uttamam benefit this bestows upon people in general. The Lord very quickly recognizes such service performed by a devotee. And then when Prabhupada landed in Boston, he wrote the second set of prayers, which were filled with verses from Divinity and Divine Service, chapter 2 of the Bhagavatam, understanding that the message of Bhagavatam, Prabhupada writes, and it was very nicely chosen in Yadu Bar and Vishaka's movie, Hare Krishna, the mantra, the movement, and the Swami brought it all. When I completed the third volume of the first canto, then Guru Maharaj gave indication, now you go to America. Not that I have to write the entire Bhagavatam and then come, just the first canto. And Prabhupada told devotees that I put everything in the first canto. This is enough for you to go back home, back to Godhead. Just the first canto. So later, Prabhupada visited Boston in May of 1968, nearly 3 years later. And there was no GPS, or you look at your phone and get directions. And Prabhupada knew how to get from the temple, which was actually a little, the next town or municipality from Boston, Alston. This is where Boston University is. Boston University is like on the same level of like Stanford in terms of prestige and desirability and number of students and persons from around the world there. So he wanted to revisit the Commonwealth Pier, where he had docked, where he had written those prayers, where he'd gotten his first sight of the United States. After being in the middle of the ocean for 5 weeks, when you finally come to land, it's very memorable. So he was very silent, walking along the pier, Commonwealth Pier. And finally he said, if a pack of donkeys thinks that you're good, what is that? Like all these celebrities, rock stars, movie stars, politicians, sports figures, yay, wow, paparazzi, It's just, what is that? It's useless. It's temporary, and it's based on animosity, ultimately. They're praising you, but they're actually envious of you. They want to be you. But we want a certificate from Krishna that this man has done something for me. We're prepared to shout our message in the wilderness. There's that wonderful chapter in Lilamrita Volume 1, crying alone in the wilderness. Then later when Prabhupada was here, not here, we're in the West Coast now, in New York City, in Manhattan, we had to fly around the world because of the Iran thing. If maybe others had a little problem with that also. What was I just saying? I forgot. Huh? Louder.
We're there in New York City.
Yes. I am alone without any devotee companion, Prabhupada wrote in his diary on Gorpanim Day 1966 on the Upper West Side of New York City. But I feel no inconvenience because I'm here on the order of my spiritual master, and I am not outside of his company, and by that, the association of Krishna and all the eternal devotees. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. So we pray spiritual Srila Prabhupada and the prayer, Bhutale, he's very dear to Lord Krishna on this earth. We understand Prabhupada's position as a great devotee of Lord Krishna. He doesn't need to take a human body and walk amongst us, but when he comes, when the pure devotee takes birth, takes a position in this world, their activities are simply meant for the pure devotional service of Krishna, pleasing Krishna, and that means preaching and distributing Krishna consciousness. He's very dear to Lord Krishna on this earth, and what are the symptoms? In Srila Prabhupada's specific case, he is defeating impersonalism and voidism and establishing pure devotional service. Obeisances unto you, O spiritual master, O servant of Srila Saraswati Goswami, you are so kindly preaching, teaching the message of Lord Sri Chaitanya Dev and are delivering these Western countries which are filled with impersonalism and voidism. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions or comments? All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, who is the Mahant here and who is so incredibly not only maintaining but expanding the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, not just here in Silicon Valley, but actually all over the world. So try to say a little something to keep the ball rolling. Hare Krishna. Anything? Okay. You have to speak loud or I have the microphone because my ears still haven't popped from the airplane. I gotta, is there a doctor in the house? I need an ear cleaning.
Prabhu, sorry to ask the question. I came a little late. Did you meet Srila Prabhupada in Boston?
What's the question?
Did you meet Srila Prabhupada in Boston in 1965 or 1966?
No, I'm 67 years old. I'm born in 1959. So when Prabhupada came, I was only 6 years old. And my particular story was that my parents, who were from New York City, after World War II in the 1950s, they were in an affluent and an advantageous position, so they wanted to move to the suburbs. So in my case, that was Nassau County, Long Island. And so I never met devotees, but if I was living in New York City, when you become like 14, 15 years old and you can start marauding around and hanging out and checking things out, I probably would have met the devotees, but I didn't know there was a Krishna consciousness movement until 1978. Which was how I found out. I was searching for answers and I was looking at spiritual books, and I went to a library and there I found an abridged English Bhagavad Gita which had all of the original paintings of Bharadvaj, Muralidhar, etc., and reading the captions, and I decided a pink fluorescent pink cover 1970 Sri Shapanishad, and inexplicably how that book ended up there without the others. The third volume of the Krishna book in paperback. And so I came to the temple, 55th Street, and I joined. That's my story. There's the example of His Grace Mukundadatta, Prabhupada's disciple, who was riding his bicycle with his friends in 1970 at the age of 9 on Watsika Boulevard, Los Angeles. And 6 years later, at the age of 15, he became Prabhupada's initiated disciple. So there's an example of being in the right place at the right time. And he's 2 years younger than me. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Microphone.
Could you share your realizations about chanting the Mahamantra?
Share my thoughts or realizations? What was the word?
Both.
Thoughts.
No, I asked realizations, but you can share your
Okay.
thoughts also.
Okay. Lochan Das Thakur, in his Parama Karuna Pahudvijana Nitai Gaur Chandra prayer, to Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, he says, don't think that this chanting and dancing won't lead to the desired success. It will. Surida Vishvashakori, one simply must have firm conviction and faith. So faith is created by, what is that? One cannot understand what is bhakti yoga, by analyzing it from the outside. Like, there's one devotee, his name is Atmanavedana. He's and his wife Subhangada are in charge of making Bhagavad Gita class in 26 2nd Avenue every Saturday night, which they've been doing for 15 years. And he was a college student going to Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island in 1991. I was in the Boston Temple in those years. And he was coming to the temple in Boston, and he had a book, like by some scholar. It was a compulsory textbook, Gita Govinda. And I just got on his case. Why are you reading this book? You're not qualified to read the Gita Govinda. And he remembers this to this date. That I don't know what's going on. It's my college class. I have to. So, Prabhupada and all our acharyas, you cannot, university degrees are not helpful. There was one, I think he was the dean or president or of a prestigious college in Calcutta. He came to see Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, and he had some intricate questions about Shastra, and he was not an arrogant person. He understood the position of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, his mission, and his disciples. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta could have taken him immediately and answered the questions and engaged in the conversation. But he said, first go and help the pujaris polish the brass. You can imagine, like in like Kartik, if you're like giving out ghee, every day I see in Vrindavan, they have to really scrub and polish all the ghee lamps. It's a lot of work. So he sent them to do this service with the pujaris. You do this and then you come back. So however long, hour or 2 hours, and then, all right, now come. And I said, I don't need to have discussion because all my questions are answered by engaging in devotional service. So Ayendra Prabhu, who certainly has extraordinary realization of the potency and necessity of chanting the holy name, he added a 4-word purport to the don't think that this chanting and dancing won't lead to the desired success. It will. And his 4-word purport was, if you do it. So, who here has realization of having a good day chanting japa versus having a bad day chanting japa? What is the difference in one's consciousness? So, of everything that we take responsibility for at the time of initiation, we have 4 main do-nots and only one do, and that's to chant minimum 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra every day. So that's on an individual level. We can all, just like you don't have to ask me, I don't have to ask you, are you hungry or not on a given day? That's for you to understand. So on a broader level, that we see if I feel good having chanted good rounds, having good relationship and service to the holy name on a given day or period of time, so in the same way, how important it is to manifest the holy name for the public at large. Holy name also includes transcendental literature distribution. They're one and the same. They work together. The books are ultimately to convince everyone that they have nothing better to do than to join Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement and dance and chant in ecstasy and take up all the activities of a devotee: temple worship, making prasadam, distributing, engaging, making a facility that we can expand the 6 loving exchanges shared between devotees, that we can exchange them throughout the entire world, with everyone in the world. I see more and more that our preaching programs, especially to convince new people, especially those who are not having an Indian heritage in their birth, that they really have to have a personal relationship with them, and they have to trust you, so this is of the 6 symptoms of love shared between one devotee and another: inquiring confidentially, revealing one's mind in confidence, and making yourself fit as a trustworthy person that others can reveal their mind and heart to you. And just practically, we've been trying to make daily Harinam in New York City. On the 25th of this month, we'll complete 14 years. We see many different devotees have joined because of the Harinam being there. There's Mahotsaha Das Brahmachari. He's one of the most successful book distributors, certainly in the United States and in the world. And he was just a NYU student, 2013. He was a scholarship student from Hyderabad, but he was very, very Western, you would think, compared to from Hyderabad. And he was, anyway, he was much different than he is now. And he was handed a On Chanting Hare Krishna pamphlet by Godruma Pran, who's one of your godbrothers, godsisters, one of your godbrothers, Vaisheshekha Prabhu disciple. And so I'll read it. And started coming to the Harinam, and the rest is history. So I can think of devotees who were temple commanders, pujaris, and they just came from the Krishna conscious, came from our Harinam. And also, Harinam is very important for the devotee community, that we can all take part together. Harinam is easier than book distribution because you don't have to overcome your mind, overcome other people's minds. It's a real serious service, book distribution. But chanting the holy name, you can just chant. If you're feeling shy, then you don't have to. You just sit down and help the kirtan manifest the holy name. What does Bhaktivinoda Thakur say? The loud chanting of the holy name is the essence of all religion. And that Haridas Thakur's answer to Lord Chaitanya, how will they all be delivered? The loud chanting of the holy name. Certainly to those who come into the proximity where the Harinam is taking place, but even it's described that those who come into the proximity, come into the place where the Harinam was, all become purified. And Svalpamapi Asya Dharmasya, just the slightest endeavor is enough to save you from having to descend into the transmigration of lower species of life. Even people walk by the Harinam and they hear it, their devotional service has begun. And what to speak if they engage in more devotional service, that they look, they turn their neck, a few degrees this way, and their eyes, their pupils, and their irises move and get a momentary look at the Harinam. And what to speak if they even go further and maybe even stop and take out their this thing and take a picture. And what to speak of if they let a devotee come up and talk to them after they take their picture. It's rude to interrupt them while they're taking their picture. So, Prabhupada says this Krishna consciousness movement is giving the opportunity for everyone to engage in the Lord's service, at least for some time. And what to speak if you go out there regularly and you get people coming and getting repeated opportunities. There's one devotee in the temple in Boston, his name is Prabhu Vishnu, and he was seeing the Harinam for years and wouldn't come close. I mean, he's attracted. Like I see people from the Jewish religion, the Orthodox Jews, there's many in New York City, and they're very much, there's one subway station, we go in the winter in Brooklyn, Atlantic Avenue, and they're like intrigued and like, because they perform austerity being in that situation. But if you go up to them, they're just, oh no, I'm Jewish, I can't do this, no. You know, but okay, they can hear the holy name and they like it, and so things like that. You get many realizations and many insights, and you get encouragement that this is the right thing to do. And of course, New York is easy in a sense because it's the city that never sleeps, and there's so many places. Like we'll sit in the Times Square, 42nd Street, 8th Avenue, 7th Avenue is good, but 8th Avenue even more, near the Port Authority bus terminal, and just sitting there for 4 hours on a weekday, at least 30,000 people walk past us, at least. And, you know, we have some desire to ultimately make 24-hour kirtan in New York City, and I think you could be outside in public 16 of those hours, at least in the warm weather, and then maybe retire it for the to the temple for 8 hours. We see with this 24-hour kirtan in Vrindavan Dham, how that has influenced the entire world. So we should practice our relationship with the holy name, certainly our own individual relationship. What is that? Make japa great again, and keep it great always. And then you'll have the strength and the faith and the courage to manifest the holy name in the public, for the public at large. Hare Krishna. Okay, so what should be done? Should we stop or more?
There's one online.
Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. Someone should tell him he's on.
Hare Krishna.
You're on the air.
Was it for me? Thank you so much. What an amazing lecture. I really appreciate so many beautiful points you made and such a lovely explanation of how Lord Shiva drank poison, and you related that with Srila Prabhupada taking so much trouble. And this quotation I'll definitely remember, that you said, and how much ever we can drink poison for the pleasure of the Lord, that means delivering the people. That was so amazing. So I have two questions. One is, you mentioned Satsarut Goswami Maharaj wrote the Lilamrita, and he also wrote a poetic version of that. If you could share the name of that, I would love to.
It's called Following Srila Prabhupada. And that's the name of the poetry. And he condensed it into, well, now it's been reprinted into one volume, which is maybe so big and maybe this thick. And if you look, GitanagriPress.org, you can get a hard copy, and it's also available online. You can download it to Kindle.
I had one more question, is that
Okay.
you mentioned in the beginning, you had mentioned Bhaktivinoda Thakur's song, and you are mentioning from Srila Prabhupada purport also, that a devotee means one that he is saddened by if others are suffering.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned the contrary of that is this: in this world, people are if somebody has something for enjoyment, so they become sad. So it's envy that you are emphasizing. So my question that is it the last thing that leaves? Because I can see that very much lingering in me, and I've heard stories that pastimes. One was Ramanujachary's case, like one pujari was giving him poison in his hand, and then Srila Prabhupada also, he mentions the Gaudiya Math thing. So I see that even after practicing many years of devotion, this thing still keep lingering at heart. So I would like to humbly seek your suggestion. What are some of the things that I could do to get rid of this deadly disease?
Srinivasacharya, what is it? Krishna kirtana gana natana paro premamritambo nidhi dhiradhira janapriyo priyakaro nirmatsaram pujito. What is the next? Sri Chaitanya Bhuvi Bhuvo Mande Rupa Sanatana Rago Yago Shri Jiva Gopalako. Offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis who are always engaged in chanting and dancing. They are worth taking shelter of because they are not envious of anyone. And they are engaged in the welfare work to deliver all the conditioned souls in the material universe. I can read the whole thing exactly.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Srila Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who are always engaged in chanting the holy name of Krishna and dancing. They are just like the ocean of love of God, and they're popular both with the gentle and with the ruffians, because they are not envious of anyone. Whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone, and they're fully blessed by Lord Chaitanya. Thus, they are engaged in missionary activities meant to deliver all the conditioned souls in the material universe.
So there's the answer. Thus, they are engaged in welfare activities. So the more that we ourselves become the mouthpiece or the vehicle for the Shreya Uttamam, the welfare to be transferred from one to the other, the better. But in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 12th chapter, it said if you can't, then support those who are doing. Every activity needs manpower, woman power, people power, and capital. And so we should help those who are thus. Sometimes you get Tony, get a job, get a life, So, but where Prabhupada was asked, he was a reporter, a guest in his room in the Bhaktivedanta Manor. Do you people work? Like, I should feel ashamed, like we don't work. They just made a new SNAP benefit that you have to, if you don't have a job, at least you have to be engaged in this many hours of community service. So fortunately, they accept when we write on the thing that, I'm a monk and we're ministerial work, helping other people, okay, you're good, right? So this is the way to get free of it, because the opposite of envy is love, true love, Shreya Uttam. Envy is just based on wanting some, you're high, you're low, but you're high, I'm low. Your karma is better, my karma is worse. And I just want to, it's just ridiculous. Like it said here, instead of endeavoring, do not endeavor for that which one should endeavor for that which is never obtained by wandering up and down in the universe, the result of reactions of karma. And Prabhupada, when he goes, what is that? He's directing us with a powerful question. We should ask, what is that? One should endeavor to become Krishna conscious. If one tries to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world, They should be understood to be performing the best welfare activity. It's the best thing to, whatever they do, they are all pleasing to everyone. When Lord Nityananda ordered Raghunath Das Goswami, after he appealed to him, I've tried to break free from the bondage of materialistic life, but again and again I failed. Please bless me, sir, that I can achieve the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Perform a Sankirtan festival and feed all my associates chipped rice and yogurt. And the festival was so great that Lord Chaitanya personally came in his spiritual, not only perceived by those who were very fortunate, situated in the inner circle of pure devotional service. And what was Lord Chaitanya doing under Lord Nityananda's direction? Taking a morsel of prasad, tasting the bhakti of each and every devotee and person present during that great festival. And then Raghava Pandit at the conclusion is encouraging Raghunath Das Goswami that the Lord personally came to this festival. And then later he's meeting Lord Nityananda under the same tree, which you can visit to this very day in, that was North Calcutta, Panihati. It's a very nice ISKCON temple. There's a very wonderful devotee named Radhapad who's in charge there. It's highly recommended that you should go visit this place. Kaviraj Goswami says it is Lord Nityananda's mercy and Lord Chaitanya that they accepted all of these dealings. So, there wasn't enough room everybody had to get down in the Ganges. There's not enough room in this room. We have to, finagle a bagel this way and that, maybe we have to make like a half roof here and like a loft or something, right? Whatever. So it's not ideal, whatever we can do, it's not ideal, it's not perfect, maybe it's even comical, but we're doing our best. Lord Chaitanya accepts it. That would be my answer to that. Hare Krishna. Where are you situated? It looks like you're in a nice place there. Is that Vrindavan or?
Yeah, right. It is Govardhan. Thank you
Govardhan. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you so much for such a nice answer.
It's the perfection of life, is living at Govardhan and going on Govardhan Park. Well, thank you. Hare Krishna. All right, thank you all very much for your kind time and patience. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. It was indeed our good fortune to have His Grace Raya Prabhu here with us. Raya Prabhu, who is famous for having brought the mood of Vrindavan to New York, and now he has brought the same mood to ISV. Vaishachika Prabhu could not be here due to prior commitments. So on his behalf and on behalf of the whole ISV community, I'd like to express our heartfelt thanks for such an amazing kirtan and a very thought-provoking and inspiring talk that you gave. Let's give him a round of applause for that. You had talked about how great personalities voluntarily take up trouble in their lives for the welfare of other people, and how you, it was amazing how you connected Srila Prabhupada to that and showed that he's a living example of that verse.
Can I say that my experience of yourself, Shraddha Devi, and doing so many things for the yatra just now in Jagannath Puri and Vrindavan, and we didn't plan that, the airspace over the Middle East was going to be shut down, and I think you went way above and beyond the call of duty, as you always do, or normally do, to bring a happy conclusion for all the devotees. So and I was able to experience that. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj. Thank you, Prabhu, for that. In that context, this verse was very awe-inspiring for me, especially to have come back from the yatra because it's exhausting. And so this actually infused me with more energy to go. Because as I was looking, as I was reading this and listening to you, how you brought Srila Prabhupada alive to us. We have read the Lila Amrita, but you somehow said it in a different way. And how you were reading through the Srimad Bhagavatam, I was reminded of a verse from Bhagavatam where it says that, Ruchiram Namam Namam. So he was kind of just squeezing the Bhagavatam and giving us the juice and the nectars. It was so relishing for me sitting at the back of the class there. So as I was listening to all that, and I heard about you from Hadai Pran Prabhu, I saw yourself at the yatra, and then I heard you here. I'm thinking that you are an example of the verse also. So thank you so much for, making your life such a good inspiration for all of us. And as I was watching, how the nectar was pouring from you and how looking at everybody, listening to you in rapt attention, I was also thinking about the prayers of Queen Kunti, where she talks about Tat Pader Ankita Bhati, that your feet are touching. So I was just thinking that ISV is so fortunate that your feet have touched us. And I can only think that, more auspiciousness is going to come here. And I'm greedy that please keep us in the orbit. So please do come here again and again. Thank you so much. We're so fortunate to have you. Let's give a round of applause, ISV style. Are there any other announcements for today, Pavni, you're planning to make?
Quick announcement about Bhakti community. I want to remind you all, Bhakti community still exists, and today is such a perfect day to have Ram Rai Prabhu here. I just would like to seek his blessings for Bhakti community. Is a community that we have started under the guidance and instruction of Vaisheshika Prabhu and Nirakula Mataji. Especially, it's very dear to their heart that they want non-traditional people to join the ISKCON consciousness, Krishna consciousness movement. So our job that we are doing simply is to create an environment where they'll feel safe and friendly, and they can, approach us. We create that environment for them. We do not try to do too much of, knowledge, that kind of stuff. We just give them the environment, and then slowly they come and they come to the temple and they become Krishna conscious devotees. So I want to remind everybody today that when you give books, please do not forget, we have the environment, it still exists. We are continuing, we are not stopping. Non-stop Sankirtan is going on. We have programs almost every day in the week. You can check it out on the website. We have in-person programs as well, mostly on Friday nights. So please invite everybody to Bhakti community. Hare Krishna.
I have one quick announcement. His Grace Rama Prabhu will be joining us for our Harinam today, which is going to be in downtown Santa Cruz from 1 to 5 p.m. The place is called Memorial Plaza. And yeah, if you're interested, please come. Please take advantage of this opportunity. It's Rama Prabhu's first time here. We're trying to welcome him with the Maha Harinam. So please join.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. We have many spots for book distribution today. Today, there are many places they're celebrating St. Patrick's Day. There are parades. So in San Francisco, there's a huge event. There will be tens of thousands of people. So we are going there for book distribution. Myself, Satya Sankal Prabhu, Achyuta Balram Prabhu. If you would like to join us, it's a lot of fun. and distributing books. People are in happy mood and they are ready to receive books. And we have another spot in San Jose. There is a Mexica New Year festival. Her Grace Nityatarangini Mataji is going there, if you like to go close by. And we also have a spot in Santa Cruz where the Harinam is going on. We will have distribution. Adinath Krishna Prabhu will be leading that team. And we have Dublin St. Patrick's Day Festival. Our youth team, Advait Srinivasan Prabhu, and all the youth will be there. So if you like to participate, please let me know. We can connect you. Thank you so much. Hare. And we'll have Prasadam prayers by Hadai Pran Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Prasadam is cooked by Her Grace Hansapriya Mataji. Let's thank Hansapriya Mataji by a big round of applause. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol!
Sharira Vidya Jal Jodendriya Tahe Kal Jive Fele Vishaya Sagore Tar Madhe Jivati Lobha Moishu Dhurmati Take jeta kothina samsare Krishna bara doyamoy Kori bhare jiva jay Swaprasad anna dhilo bhai Seya namrita pao Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gunagao Preme Dako Sri Chaitanya Nita Preme Dako Sri Chaitanya Nita Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishwasane Vajayat Prasadhe Surva Dukkanam Anirasyo Pajayate Prasanna Chetaso Yasum Nipaya Pudis Tvayopa Bhukta Shaganda Vasulankara Charchita Uchishta Bodhi no Dasas Kavamaya Jayemahi Kamparyusutam Vapi Nita Madhura Deshita Prapti Matrena Bhoktavyam Natra Kala Vicharana Desha Niyamastatra Nakala Niyamastata Prapta Manam Dutam Shishter Bhoktavyam Harirabravi